Rod the Tool Guy here at ARES Tools. Today we're going to be introducing our ARES 81000 Master Oil Pressure Test Kit. This kit comes with all the common size adapters and a fitting to connect the pressure gauges to most any application. This master kit comes with 14 pieces of adapter fittings to connect the 1/8 27 MPT gauge fittings to whichever application you're working on. These adapters include both imperial and metric thread types, with different materials, brass and aluminum, to easily recognize the differences. These two different gauges are necessary when testing and getting an accurate pressure reading on different systems, since different systems run on different standard pressures. This kit also includes a heavy-duty 72-inch rubber no-kink testing hose with a quick connect coupler for easy connecting and switching out the pressure gauges. So now that we know that this ARES Master Kit has everything you need to get the job done, let's put this tool to work and show you how to perform this maintenance test. Okay, so we've got our demo motor here to kind of talk about how to locate and set this up. So first you need to locate the oil pressure sensor. Sometimes you can use the oil temp sensor as long as it's on the pressure side. Once you locate the sensor, you will remove the sensor and replace it with the proper testing adapter. So go ahead and get this thing out of here. So once you've removed the sensor, you got to pick out the fitting that's going to work for the adapting your hose to the engine. Sometimes it's better to put the fitting on the hose, and other times it's better to just put it on the engine and then put the hose to the engine. It just depends what's going to work best for you in the application. Depending on the location of the sensor, some oil will spill out when performing this installation. Make sure to have a pan and towels handy to limit the mess. Trying to minimize the spillage takes a little practice. Once we have the test hose installed onto the sensor port, we can go ahead and connect the test gauge to the hose using the quick connect coupler. When testing a system, make sure to use the correct test gauge that matches the pressure range needed for the application. Always check with the manufacturer's specifications before setting up and performing the test. If you don't know the standard pressure of your application, start with the high pressure gauge, and if the reading is coming out too low, switch to the low pressure gauge. Once the test unit is installed on the engine, go ahead and start the engine. Caution, make sure the transmission is set to park, or if you have a manual transmission, that it's in neutral, and remember to set the parking brake. Once the engine is running steady, you should see a pressure reading on the test gauge. This pressure should fall within the manufacturer's specified standard. If necessary, maintain the engine RPM at a steady speed as stated in the service manual to get a proper reading if it's lower than 100 psi. And more detail is needed, turn the engine off and allow the engine to cool, and repeat the test with the low pressure gauge attached. Okay, so as you can see, the low pressure gauge is a lot more sensitive, and we're seeing the fluctuation in the pressure relief system and things like that, and also it'll give you a very, very precise reading here. So you let your engine come up to temp, and you can see what your minimum pressure is, and then usually they'll have you bring it up to around 2000 RPM, and you can see what the top end pressure will be. And this way you can get an accurate reading of what's going on in your lubrication system. Caution, do not switch out the gauges while the engine is running. Only connect the gauge to the engine or test hose when the engine is off and cooled. If the engine oil pressure is testing normal, then you may have a faulty sensor and it will need to be replaced. After testing is complete, turn off the vehicle, allow it to cool before removing the testing equipment. Once cooled, disconnect the hoses, gauge, and adapter. Replace the oil sensor and clean up any oil spilled. Restart the engine and check for any leaks at the sensor, and refill the oil as needed to maintain a proper oil level. There you have it, the ARES 81000 Master Oil Pressure Test Kit. It is that easy to troubleshoot and test your engine if having an oil pressure issue. Thanks for watching, and be safe out there.